Invincible feels so weak. This season, this past season, we finished it. I'm still working on that, but again, if you guys do want to check those videos out, it's on the Patreon. You can check all that stuff. Watch it early before it hits the channel, the main channel. I had no complaints about this season. A lot of people, didn't like the animation, but the last 2 episodes made up for everything. So let's see what he's talking about. Let's see if he's spitting facts or not. He might be capping though. He might just be blabbering right now. Damn. Oh my God, no, Mark was getting done dirty in the first season, bro. I'm just realizing this was Mark every episode. Every damn episode.
Some of the glimpses of what happened to Invincible so far. He's been beaten down near death more than a handful of times, and with him being half Viltrumite, you would think he wouldn't be so weak, but Mark isn't weak at all. He's just more human than we thought. Every fighter, every hero, and even the strongest beings in fiction have weaknesses. Batman is human, Goku lets his guard down, Superman has kryptonite, and Invincible, well, his weaknesses are a little different. Invincible's main ones are his overconfidence.
He's just a little bitch, bro. That's it. That's all Mark is. That's all Mark is, He just be like, oh, no, I can't kill him. That's wrong. That's bad. That's wrong and the impolite thing to do. Like he wants to be politically correct or some shit. I don't know, bro. Spoilers, but how the season ended, he said he's going to be on go for the next season. So the next season, if he doesn't start just ripping people in half at the slightest thing, I don't care if they're stealing candy from a baby. You rip that person apart and the baby. There's no other way about it. You have to be on go. I'm tired. I'm tired of you giving these niggas chances on chances. Kill them.
Confidence. Mark thinks he can take on way more than he can handle, and it usually goes horribly wrong. He's naive. He always assumes people are as good as he is, which is definitely not the case in a universe where conquest exists. And his immaturity. He still thinks he can save everyone, but the reality is he can't. And that's what Cecil has been trying to get him to understand, but he's just not mature enough to see his side. And it's very easy to say that Mark is weak, especially in the grand scheme of things and how the story has played out. I mean, anytime a character with slightly higher stats than a level 1 bandit appears, the struggle to beat his opponents increases by 10 times. But this is not due to him being weak at all. These aren't things that make him inherently weak. They're just obstacles that make his growth harder. Because let's be honest, if Mark just relied on his brute strength alone, like other Viltrumites, he wouldn't even be invincible. He'd just be another version of his dad. You see, Mark was raised by...
Like, I see what he's saying, but... Nigga, you your daddy's son. Embrace it. Embrace that shit, bro. I'm sorry.
By his mother and live like a...
Your dad did some horrible things. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Oh! Do not bring him to a parent-teacher meeting. Hey, your son has been doing amazing in my class. I have no complaints.
Human for the majority of his life. So his natural instincts aren't to fight and hurt people, let alone kill them. Compared to a Viltrumite like Nolan or Conquest, whose entire purpose was to use brute force and accomplish their missions by any means. Well, that is until Nolan decided to watch too much Bob Ross and became a pacifist. But Mark's ideals with being human is what keeps him from being stronger. He didn't grow up in a society where fighting was life or death. He didn't train in brutal, no mercy combat like the other Viltrumites did. He was raised by his human mother in a world where you don't immediately solve problems with violence. And that hesitation, it's what keeps him from being as strong as the other Viltrumites physically, but it's also what keeps him better than most of them mentally. Let's look at Mark's father, Omni-Man, a literal war machine created to conquer planets. His whole life, he was trained to be an apex predator. And when he did decide to change, that took decades of internal conflict. Meanwhile, Mark, he wasn't born into that life. He was never meant to be a killer, and that's what sets him apart from someone like Conquest or Thrag, 2 Viltrumites who don't hesitate to take a life when necessary. But Mark hesitates. He holds back because he still sees the value of life even when his enemies don't. And that's the core difference. And yeah, you could argue that holding back makes him weaker, but it's also what makes him stronger, but in a different way. Because unlike Nolan, Mark's strength isn't just about power. It's about the restraint. While the other Viltrumites rely purely on brute force, Mark is learning how to adapt, how to think beyond just fighting, and how to actually change.
I don't want to hear this, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Like, what do you mean? You should have killed Armstrong. He should have killed KSI's big ass in the second season. After he took your mama's arm, ripped that shit sideways, and almost killed your little brother. There's nothing else after that. You really should have. But he was still holding back. That's the thing. He be holding back for the wrong people. I understand. Like, some nigga is robbing a bank. Okay, put him in prison. Nigga, you have Adolf Hitler right there. Kill that bitch. Kill that nigga. It shouldn't be that hard. Two and two need to click faster for you.
Change things instead of just breaking them. And sure, he might get his face caved in a little too often, but he always gets back up, and that's what makes him truly invincible. I mean, take for example,
this last episode
all of the
was
Mark
freaking
variants that
peak.
came to Earth to wreak havoc. At first glance, you'd think they'd be just as strong, if not stronger than him. I mean, after all, they're all technically
Kai with the gifted side. With the gifted side.
the same person, right? Same genetics, same DNA, same potential. So why is it that Mark manages to outclass nearly all of them? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Adversity breeds strength. Think about it. These other Invincibles likely took the easiest route possible. They probably didn't face nearly as many hardships, didn't go through the same relentless, life-altering experiences, and most importantly, they didn't have to struggle the way this Mark did. Mark has been forced into life or death situations countless times.
True.
He's had to push past his limits, not because he wanted to, but because he had to. Every time he got beaten down, he was forced to evolve, to learn, to adapt, and most importantly, he never gave in. He never let himself become the heartless conqueror that his father once wanted him to be. The other Invincibles, well, they didn't have the same struggle. They likely gave into their power and leaned into their Viltrumite instincts, then followed the easiest path of destruction. And as a result, they stagnated. They never truly grew stronger because they never had to face the same level of hardship that this Mark did. And this is why restraint, something that might seem like a weakness at first, is actually one of Mark's greatest strengths.
That's true. I understand. Okay, I understand what he's saying. But it's like, damn, bro, I'm so mixed about this because it's like, I know it's a show, but in his defense, taking any human life can't be easy. I don't even like killing spiders. You's a bitch. Oh. Yes, I'm definitely gonna burn my house down, but he's not taking any human life. First of all, most of these niggas are monsters. And even if they're human, the stuff they be doing makes them a monster. If you have a child, if you have a family member, if you have someone you love is put in harm's way, I automatically do not care about anything you have going on. I will destroy you. As simple as that. I have a heart, but like once you're putting me or someone I love in harm's way, there shouldn't be there's no more talking. It's just fist to your face. Eat them. Munch on that, bitch. Munch on that. So it's like, but the spider point's valid, I guess, but it's like, nigga, if it was a tarantula attacking your baby, you about to, I don't know. You gonna do something to that spider real fast. There's always context that needs to be had. The way Mark especially in the early episodes, Mark was thinking so, I don't even want to say, I was gonna say a bad word. Mark was thinking very, not so smart at all. Cause he was always like, you're going to prison. Yeah, you're going to prison. And like he was acting, and then with the whole Cecil situation, I'm sorry, Cecil was in the right. Cecil was in the right. Say anything you want to say. Yes, him putting that shit in his head was insane, but you have to understand, his daddy was going to wipe out the planet. That's Cecil's responsibility. His responsibility is to save the world any means possible. Necessary, not AMP, my fault. Shout out to Kanye and them, not AMP, that's not. If you have that responsibility, you gotta take precaution. So I understand that. Cecil was right. Say what you want. Say Cecil was right though.
Constantly holding back by refusing to give in to pure brutality. He's had to fight smarter. He's had to become more skilled, not just more powerful. And over time, that's made him far stronger than any of his counterparts who simply relied on brute strength alone. And at the end of the day, Mark Grayson's story isn't about being the most powerful in the universe. It's about growth. It's about the struggles, the losses, the lessons learned, and the will to keep moving forward despite everything. He has been thrown into battles time and time again, sometimes against opponents far beyond his strength, cough cough, battle beast, sometimes against forces that have broken him completely, and yet every single time he gets back up. Every time he loses, every time he learns, every time he faces death, he adapts. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him invincible. Other Viltrumites, other versions of himself, might have been stronger in a raw sense. They might have been more ruthless, more efficient, more in tune with their brutal instincts, but none of them faced the trials that this man did. None of them had to fight the way he did, and none of them had to hold back the way he has. See, Mark's strength isn't just in his fist, it's in his choices for restraint and leaning into his humanity. Omni-Man once told him that being half human made him weak, that Earth and everything he loved would eventually die off, making it pointless to care. But Mark rejected that ideology. He proved that humanity wasn't a weakness, it was his greatest strength, because while Viltrumites are powerful, they're also limited. They believe strength comes from dominance, control, and wiping out anything that stands in their way. Mark understands something they never could. True strength isn't about being the most powerful person in the room. It's not about winning every fight. It's about standing for something even when it hurts, even when it means suffering loss. even when it means getting beaten down to the brink of death and choosing to do the right thing. And that's why Mark Grayson will always be more than just another Viltrumite. He's invincible, and not because he can't be hurt, not because he never loses, but because no matter what happens, he never gives in. And in the end, this is what makes him stronger than all of them.
Valid point, but he needed to give in some more. I'm not gonna lie. Valid point, but he really needed to start whipping some. He needs to start ripping ass. He needs to start tearing ass cheeks apart. He needs to. Circumstantial, of course, circumstantial. But Mark, in this next season, do your big one. Do your biggest one. Again, guys, my Invincible videos, my Invincible reaction videos are on Patreon if you guys want to see the full uncut thing. But if you guys want to check that out, make sure you check out the main channel, TheKidLaw. That's going to be coming out very, 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 very soon. Very soon. We live on Twitch every Friday.